Forward-facing sonar and jerkbaits kind of go hand in hand, and we're seeing more and more brands coming to market with baits specifically with that in mind. And one of those brands is Lucky Craft. They have a pair of new forward-facing sonar specific jerkbaits that they have launched. And today we're just going to break this down, and I'm going to tell you what these baits are, how to implement them, and what to expect from the brand new forward-facing sonar line of baits from Lucky Craft. Let's go. Welcome back, my friends. I am Ben with the Hook of Tackle, a Tackle Otaku on Instagram, being joined once again by my buddy Callan. Callan, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
Good to hear. We are going to be talking about forward-facing sonar jerkbait fishing. Now, since the dawn of forward-facing sonar, live scope, whatever you guys want to call it, jerkbait has been an instrumental tool with live scope, and one of those reasons is because the jerkbait is a bait that you can alter, you can make it float, you can make it sink, you can make it suspend. It's very easy to kind of position it down to fish, keep it up on fish. It's an easy bait to alter, and it's an easy bait to kind of twitch and move and kind of keep in the strike zone to where you can see it on the screen, fish can see it, and of course it's effective. So, you know, certain baits work great using sonar, certain baits don't, and through trial and error the jerkbait has kind of become a staple. So with all this boom in forward-facing sonar activity, brands are kind of flocking into the market with baits that are specific to that. And when I say specific, I'm saying, you know, they're literally putting the branding on the package. So this is one of the new Lucky Craft Lightning Pointer 100 DDs, and you can see it literally says forward-facing sonar best, right? So this is something that brands started doing, you know, a year and a half ago, where they just started slopping, you know, scope or sonar or whatever to the mix, and you're seeing things like scope sticks and sonar shads and all these different things. But are any of them actually designed to improve your, you know, scope fishing, or are they just taking advantage of, you know, using the wording to kind of convince you to purchase? And that's what we're going to break down today. So Lucky Craft, when sonar first came to market, they wanted to try to embrace it and utilize what they knew about lure building and what their pros knew they needed in lures, and try to create actual baits specific for using with forward-facing sonar. And these are the two baits that they have come out with so far. Okay, this is the Lightning Pointer 100 DD and the Lightning Staysee 110 DD. Okay, so two new baits that are available in two options. Okay, the red boxes are suspending versions, and the black boxes are sinking versions. Now, we will break this down, describe what this is for you. I'm going to start over here with the Staysee because I happened to pick a clear color so I can show you what they have done. Now, internally, inside of these baits, you know, weight transfer systems are not anything new. Typically, when there's a weight transfer inside of a bait, it is a single ball or a double, you know, lead ball or tungsten ball that shifts to the back of the bait when you cast, and then shifts to the front of the bait when, you know, when you're retrieving, right? So what Lucky Craft has done is they have put inside of the Staysee 5 steel balls. So these aren't lead, they're not tungsten, they're steel, and they use steel for a couple of reasons, and I'll get to that here in a second. So as these shift, these are held on by a magnet, right? So you can see they're not going to slide. The magnet is holding all 5, but when you go to cast, all those balls are going to shift to the back, so you get great castability, and then shift to the front and lock into place there. So once they're locked and they're held in with that magnet, the only sound you're really going to get are the hooks banging on the bait and just a very, very subtle kind of just the shifting of them within that chamber. So it's very quiet, which is nice for forward-facing sonar because it lets you have a more lifelike, realistic look. Now, inside of the Staysee, there are 5 balls. Inside of the pointer, the Lightning Pointer 100DD, there are 4. Okay, so they are able to fit a 5th one into the Staysee, 4 into this one. Now, using steel lets them do a couple different things. Steel, they found, gives greater feedback on the live scope, better feedback than just straight lead. But the other thing it did is it allowed them to put more balls in and that magnet still hold them. So one of the things that is starting to trend in scope fishing is the closer you get to fish using scope, the more freaked out and afraid those fish are starting to become. They're getting used to the feel of the sonar, the sound of the sonar. So having sonar that reaches further distance and being able to cast at further distance is becoming more and more important. So by adding those extra transfer balls, you're going to get a further cast. You can reach those fish that are further away, which should, in theory, let you fish for fish that are a little less spooky than they would be if you were right up on top of them. Now, what are we choosing? Are we choosing suspending? Are we choosing sinking? Well, this is where it's going to depend on what you're fishing and how you're doing it. So the 2 suspending options are, of course, the Lightning Staysee 110 and the Lightning Pointer 100DD. Let me just take that out so you guys can get a size comparison. So the suspending options are going to be designed out of the box to fish in that kind of 7 to 10 foot zone. Okay, so if you guys are fishing shallower water, the fish are up, they're in the bushes, they're on grass, and they're in that 7 to 10 foot zone, then the suspending options are going to be great. Now, the way they have these weighted, both of these baits are going to suspend nose down like this. So this is the other key to this bait. Baits suspend in different ways. Sometimes they suspend horizontally, sometimes they suspend nose down. Lucky Craft took from their Pointer 78DD that naturally suspends nose down, and they have created this profile. They've widened it just a little bit in the middle so that as the sonar is picking up on this bait, it's picking up on the full profile of the bait. So not only is it hitting that steel, which is transmitting back very quick, but you're getting the full profile of the bait that's showing up on the sonar. So it's a very easy bait to see. As this bait walks and moves, it's showing up on your sonar very crisp, very well. So it's easy for you to understand where it is and how the fish's behavior is towards it. Okay, so 10 foot or less, that's where you're going to implement the suspending version. If you want to get it down a little bit quicker, of course you can weight this as well. So the bottoms are wide enough to where you could add a weight strip. So you could add a simple weight strip. Most guys now are adding 2 weight strips and then some kind of floating material on the back to kind of semi counterbalance it. But really what you're trying to do is you're just trying to maintain the posture of the bait so the bait is in the right position and not, you know, going horizontal or not going tail down. You're just trying to keep that right posture. Now, if you want to go down deeper, that's where the sinking version is going to come in. Now, this is a nice sinking version out of the box. Up to now, what a lot of us have had to do with sinking versions is use saltwater baits. So most saltwater jerk baits will sink, but the challenge to a lot of saltwater sinking baits is that the weights just kind of shift back and forth and they have kind of a faster sink rate, and they're designed to sink faster because they got to cut down through the salt, right? So they're used and designed in water that's much more dense. So when we throw it to freshwater fish, a lot of times they just sink too fast, and as you pop them, those weight transfers shift back and forth. So sometimes they dart nose down, but sometimes that weight will pop to the back and they'll sink, you know, tail down. So there's not really any consistency to it. By utilizing this guy, you have that same weight transfer system in there. It's going to sink nose down, but it's going to be what I would consider to be a slow sink, almost like an ideal optimal sink straight out of the package. So if you're not a tinkerer, if you don't like to put weight strips and floats and do all that stuff, you can just grab a bait out of the sinking and it will have that slow sink, and you can effectively get this bait down. I would say ideally your suspend is that 7 to 10 foot, and your sinking versions, whether it's the Lightning Pointer or the Lightning Staysee, is going to be to cover that 10 to 20 foot zone. Once you kind of surpass 20 foot, you're going to probably need to weight these two just to make sure you can maintain, some depth control. But fishing a jerkbait down into 15, 16, 18 foot, that's kind of like the ideal zone that most of us are throwing the jerkbait towards. Now, these are available in a handful of different colors, including a new forward-facing sonar chrome. Okay, so they've chromed the entire thing, including the lip. And this chrome really shines on forward-facing sonar. It's similar, it's going to show up similar to how like a big spoon would. Right, if you're throwing a big flutter spoon, something that's just got a lot of body and a lot of flash, that's kind of how this is going to show up on the forward-facing sonar. A lot of you guys that live in the south and back east that are fishing herring lakes, in bigger shad, chrome's just a natural color for you. Anyways, some of you might be fishing clear water and maybe you're like, nah, chrome's just not going to do it. Well, there's plenty of colors to dive through. There's, chartreuse shads and ghost minnows and, aurora blacks and so on and so forth through the line. Okay, so the combination of the two, this should get you everything you need to basically get started. Both the Lightning Pointer and the Staysee are going to come with the 3 hooks. So right out of the box, they're good. Split rings. They have the steel ball. So literally tie it on and utilize it however you need to do it. Now, both of these baits can be used in a sweeping motion. So if you want to have more of a subtle sweep, you can just kind of sweep and let them kind of just crank down to the fish and then just kind of stay there. They can also both be used as a very snappy, jerky motion where they will have that side-to-side movement to them. The sinking version will kind of side to side and then will slowly sink back down, right? And then jerk again, slowly sink back down. The suspending version is going to have more of a side-to-side snap, and then it's just going to kind of stay put, right? So depending on the depth that you're trying to get to, will let you choose which one you want to get. So there is the first forward-facing sonar introduction from Lucky Craft in their jerkbait lineup. I'm sure it's the first of many things to come. I've seen some of the stuff they've been working on. I'm really excited to see where this goes. And, it's as much controversy as LiveScope and forward-facing sonar gets. It is just a tool that's here. It's a tool that all of us are utilizing. I welcome any addition that can improve our time on the water and make it more fun for us. And I think these baits do that. So if you guys have questions on anything that we've covered, drop it down below. If you've been putting these through the test and utilizing them, and you have experiences that I didn't share, I would love us to all grow as a community. I want us to all catch more fish, so please share that below with us as well, because I want to learn from you as well. So if you guys have any questions, drop it down below. I will get to it. Callum will put links to the baits if you want to check them out closer. And until next time, guys, on behalf of myself and Cal and everybody here at the Hook Up Tackle, thank you for giving us time to watch our videos. Thank you for your business and your support. We will see you again soon on the next episode. Peace out, my friends.